back. You're watching Viewpoint with me, Gruha. Now, Congress's poll promises ahead of Karnataka elections in May this year are back in the discourse. This time, as the state's finance department has thrown a wrench into the works of the newly formed government. The Congress had promised 2,000 per month to housewife in every household if the party emerged victorious in the state assembly polls. The finance department has now informed the Siddaramaiah government that the Gruha Lakshmi Scheme would be difficult to implement due to financial constraints during the current financial year. In fact, CNN News18 has accessed the letter stating that the scheme might pose a risk of pushing the state towards a considerable revenue deficit. Although, despite this warning, the Congress government in Karnataka has still given the green signal and declared its intent to proceed with the scheme. And as a response, the BJP has launched a scathing attack on the Siddaramaiah administration, accusing Congress over lack of funds for development of the state, but having the money to splurge on a Rajiv Gandhi statue. Prime Minister Modi also criticized the Congress government, blaming their freebie promises for what he's termed as crisis faced by Karnataka. Interestingly, these developments have occurred right after 11 Congress MLAs expressed concerns to the Chief Minister, Mr. Siddaramaiah, about the lack of cooperation from the ministers. In fact, Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. D.K. Shivakumar, has even acknowledged the scarcity of funds, stating that a significant portion had to be allocated to fulfill Congress's election promises.
Coming to the point of discipline on the matter of finances, who is talking about discipline on the finances? The BJP is the one who pushed the state of Karnataka for a borrowing loan of more than 2.6 lakh crores. And moreover, to be very, very frank, when they were in the election year and they know that they're going for election, why did they give approval for so many projects more than 2 lakh crores?
एक तरफ महाराष्ट्र में हम चौतरफा विकास होते देख रहे हैं, वहीं दूसरी तरफ पड़ोसी राज्य कर्नाटका में जो हो रहा है वो भी हमारे सामने है।
Let me first begin by talking about the new guidelines that the Congress government in Karnataka has now issued over the Gruha Lakshmi Scheme. Let's take a look at who are stand eligible as part of the scheme at the moment. So the first point that we want to bring to your notice is that the women who are antodayas, or in fact the lowest people on the lowest part of the denominator, or above poverty line people, families, the below poverty line families, all of them stand eligible. If we look at the people who have been excluded from this list, even if they come from ABL or BPL families, are government employees and taxpayers specifically. Next, we also understand that people who are eligible must be identified as Yajamani, or the head of the family. So a woman needs to be declared as the head of the family. Only then can she be part of this exclusive guarantee. Those excluded are husbands or sons paying income tax returns. So that is another aspect that has been brought to fore. Also, people who are eligible must be identified later. If we take a look at the next point, in fact, this is also to do with the fact that people who are going ahead and paying taxes will not be part of this particular scheme. And as mentioned, there is no provision for a new female head that's been mentioned. In fact, going forward, if we take a look at what are the 5 poll guarantees that have in fact been presented and made, the promises that have been made by the Congress party ahead of the assembly elections, and what is the cost that is going to be on the state exchequer, let's break down those points one by one. The first one is, of course, the Gruha Lakshmi Scheme that we are talking about. This would end up costing the state exchequer 31,200 crore rupees annually. So this is, of course, 2,000 rupees per month to women heads of the family. Next up is the Gruha Jyoti scheme, which will end up costing the exchequer 5,460 crores annually. And this is giving 200 units of free power to the families in Karnataka. Third is the Annabhagya scheme, will end up costing the exchequer 4,500 crore rupees. which is free 10 kgs of rice to all the below poverty line families in the state, something which the Karnataka government in the state had seen a huge furore about just a short while back, and all of these allegations coming by the Bharatiya Janata Party, the opposition in the state. The fourth one is the Uchita Prayana, that scheme where it will cost 2464 crore rupees, so 2,464 crore rupees to the exchequer, which is free bus travel for women in the state of Karnataka. Fifth, of course, is the Yuva Nidhi. That scheme is going to end up costing the exchequer 1,350 crore rupees, which is 3,000 rupees per month to unemployed graduates in the state of Karnataka. So that is how we are looking at the kind of 5 guarantees. What is it going to actually cost as far as total? Is the total annual cost, if we look at, is 44,974 crore rupees that the state government needs to come up with to go ahead and fulfill all of these promises that have been made. Let me now open this up to my guests who are joining us on the broadcast. Mohan Vishwa of the BJP is with us. Aishwarya Mahadev of the Congress Party is with us. T.R. Prasad Gaura of the JDS is also with us. And last but not the least, Professor Arun Kumar, who is an economist, also is with us on the broadcast. Aishwarya, let me begin with you, the only lady on the panel. The fact that there are so many accusations against the Congress-led government in Karnataka, how is Congress deciding to fulfill this kind of a backlog and this huge amount that it is, in fact, going to be costing the state exchequer if we look at all the 5 guarantees, of course, talking about this particular scheme, the Gruha Lakshmi Scheme?
Good evening, Gruha. I think the BJP is taking their job as the opposition so seriously that none of their leaders, including the Prime Minister, will comment on what is happening in Haryana or Manipur or in trains of this country, but have enough gumption to sit and talk about what is happening in my state. If I may be uninterrupted when I complete this, I will tell you 2 very important things. The entire world, or rather the country and the economists and the BJP, applauded when 1 lakh crores was waved away for some of the largest corporate industrialists under the guise of saying there will be a trickle down and you will restart the economy, which was a huge fallacy, and it helped nobody and no money went down anywhere. They looked to pay off their liabilities, and that is the only thing that happened. When the Karnataka Congress formulated this plan, and I can give you the intention behind each one of these 5 plans, it was to basically help the poor, the middle class, and the struggling communities, whether it was with unemployment, whether it was price rise, whether it was inflation. Because as my Chief Minister rightly stated in his budget speech, the fact is the poorest of the poor still account for 60 to 65% of actually paying taxes in the form of when they consume commodities, and we wanted to ease this for them. What has happened today, and the BJP can say all that they have to, is the entire budget size is more than 3 lakh crores is the budget size of Karnataka. Your 44,000 crores in terms of the guarantees are only seeing basic tiny hiccups in the beginning because of the fact of the fiscal imprudence of the past BJP government. Mohan Vishwa will come tell you about the ROI and the entire MOUs and all of that. But the state exchequer will tell you exactly how otherwise...
You already preempted what Mohan Vishwa is going to speak about.
Because he's a chartered accountant, he will tell you the numbers that are preferable for him. But the fact is this: it should not inch opposition parties that proclaim to stand for the poor when these welfare schemes are targeting the poor. For example, the Shakti Yojana, the amount of criticism, but the positive externality of the transport departments finally making a profit and tourism department seeing a positive plus is something that we had seen. All these other schemes will not only increase spending, but this will basically help the poorest of the poor fight the inflationary forces that the center has done absolutely nothing about. If you do not believe me, come try to buy tomatoes in my state anywhere today and you will realize the reality.
Okay. Mohan Vishwa, since Aishwarya Mahadev already has told us what you're going to speak about, is that any different?
See, Gruha, this is the problem with the Congress. What they do is they say that, if they give the money, people are going to spend the money in the economy, and the money will come back and the economy will grow. This is the This is what the poorest theory which the world was not able to succeed in the past in many other countries. Forget about Karnataka, forget about India. To give an example, take an example of United States of America during COVID, where they transferred $5,000 to each and every household over there. Even then, the American economy was not able to recoup. Even today, Indian economy has grown faster than any other economy in the world. As far as the unemployment rate is concerned, let me tell you, Karnataka has the lowest unemployment rate. And the Karnataka has the third state in India which has the highest number of GSDP. And Karnataka's GST collections has doubled from past 3.5 years during our tenure. Money is over there. So the problem is Mr. Siddaramaiah, who is known or who calls himself as a finance minister who presented the budget for 14 times, is unable to manage, or is he not having any plan when they announce these kind of guarantees during their manifesto or during election campaign? What did he say? Within 24 hours of coming into power, they're going to, implement all those guarantee A, B, C, D, E, all those stuff. But today they're suffering like this. And let me tell you, my friend Aishwarya Mahadev said, she spoke about tomatoes. What about the power price rise made by state government in the state? Why she's not talking about that? Why, she's not talking about the excise duty, which is increased on the liquor in the state? Why she's not talking about the valuation of property, which is increased in the state for the sake of, increase in stamp and registration fees? Why she's not talking about the royalty, which is increased on the sand and the stone, which is used for the construction in the state? These kind of costs have also increased. For your information, from today onwards, the basic necessity of a poor, the milk per liter has been increased by 3 rupees. What she's telling now, she's speaking only about tomatoes. I can give you 100 of other stuff where Congress have increased when they're pooling the money by increasing the other taxes and other prices. Where are those money going to? Even after increasing those taxes, if the Congress is not able to fulfill the promises which they have given, means there is something seriously wrong as far as finance department is concerned. These kind of statements shouldn't be given. And also they say they don't have money for the development. And you said, as you rightly said, it's not only DK Shivakumar. During the day of presenting the budget by Siddaramaiah himself, we have an information that he himself briefed all the MLAs that, this year there will not be fund allocated to the respective constituency for the development. He himself have told way back. It's not new that Siddaramaiah has told.
Okay.
And today,
so
let me tell you one more thing.
I'll let Aishwarya respond on the DK Shivakumar's statement, but let me first bring in Professor Arun Kumar on this. Professor Arun Kumar, how bankable is this tomato theory that the member of the Congress party is, the Congress spokesperson is talking about as far as the state of Karnataka is concerned? Because here the concern is not what the BJP is claiming, is the state's finance department who has in fact warned the state government of implementing the Gruha Lakshmi Scheme. They, in fact, talk about all the schemes on how this is going to be costing the exchequer over 45,000 crore rupees annually. So how do you see these promises that have been made to the people of Karnataka by the now government of Siddaramaiah in the state? Professor Arun.
I think we need to break down the expenditures. Some are public services that are essential. For instance, education, health, etc., very essential. Transportation, energy, etc., essential. For any civilized existence, these things are required. Yeah. Second is that when there is destitution, when people are very poor, then you need to actually see that they are able to survive. So therefore, given that, after the pandemic, the unorganized sector declined and has continued to decline, their incomes have gone down, unemployment there has gone up, and therefore they need support. And that's why I think unemployment support is required. And for women-headed families, support is required. So that's the second kind. Okay. Third kind of, which are not necessarily essential, that is where the government should not have gone in, because that actually poses a burden which actually the government may not be able to fulfill. However, I would like to say that it's all a question of prioritization of the government. Whatever tax revenue and non-tax revenue you collect, it comes into one common fund. Out of that, you can spend on different schemes depending on your political requirement, depending on what your political priorities are. So prioritization by the government is what is critical. Now, if the government is trying to fulfill the needs of the people, now it depends differently on different parties, how they would like to fulfill. And all over the country now it's happening. Why? Because people don't believe in the politicians. Politicians, the faith is gone because the parties come, they promise all kinds of tall promises and then they don't deliver. That's why now the public is demanding immediately, what are you going to give me? So therefore, all political parties in their manifestos are promising all kinds of things, which is what the Prime Minister has called reveries, but I would like to call them as, things that, may be required, may not be required. But, it's an incentive to the poor. And therefore, the question is that how does it impact the economy and the budget? Now, the budget, of course, will be impacted unless revenues are raised. There's no doubt about it. Your deficit will tend to rise if you have these expenditures. But then you have to make an attempt to try and raise revenues. And where do you raise revenues, which will not be, bad for the poor people? That's direct taxes. So direct taxes in India, GDP ratio is very low. It's 6% of GDP, which is direct taxes. 11% is indirect taxes, which also falls on the poor. So we need to raise direct taxes because in India we have very low direct taxes. The Prime Minister himself said only 1.5 crore people are effective taxpayers. So out of 140 crore, only 1.5 crore means only 1.1% of the population is effective taxpayer. This needs to be expanded by checking the black income generation, and at least 3% more could come in, and you could get at least 5 to 6% more direct tax GDP ratio if you could check the black income generation. If you could do that, then all the programs that are being now talked about, those could be funded, employment generation could be funded, etc. Okay. So in other words, the political will is required to tackle the black economy, raise direct taxes so that we can fund for the poor people. And here also I'd say if that kind of fund is available, it should go to education and health. It should go to employment generation. That will generate in the future more income generation. So that's the kind of reprioritization that's required.
All right. So, Mr. Gaura, let me bring you here. I want to understand this one aspect, this important point that Professor Arun Kumar has also made, that obviously the people are very disgruntled with the politicians and even any government dispensation in any state. So they want it easy, they want it as soon as possible. The accusation against the opposition in the state is that they are feeding into it. They are trying to go ahead and instigate the people over that very thing. That when is it going to happen? Since it's been promised by the Congress party, why has it not been done yet?
Well, thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk now. Anyway,
sorry, sir, there are too many speakers, so it's one by one.
No problem. I'm happy with the Chief Minister. Happy with the Chief Minister because he has got a feel for the people of the state and he is feeling for the state. But at one point of time, he should have thought how this freebies is going to hamper the economy of the state. And now he is struggling to accumulate the funds to give all these freebies, whatever now today he has. I think they have done for 200 watts of power free. All those things they are trying to do it, and now they are trying to register it. But their agenda was the day we comes to the power, we will give next day itself. We will give do all the things. Now all they are following all the formalities and all kinds of calculations. They are doing it now because when at the cost of getting the power, they have promised it. Now they are really facing the problem. Of course, their thought may be good, but they are not making people of our state to earn by themselves. And when there is a exchequer burden on exchequer, about 56,000 crores of money has to spend on each year. They should have thought, how I am going to make my people going to earn this money end of the day. So this is what lagging. Now it has hampered the developmental activity in the state of Karnataka. And of course, as I told you earlier in my talk, that he is a good chief minister. I have got feel for the people. But what about the developmental activity? Okay. Developmental activity, if you are go on giving all 5 years, and our state will go down, economy will go down, and our GST collections will go down. Everything will go down. I know you are dependent on GST collections. I know, but what's happening? And you are trying to, squeeze other parts of the people, like who are in excise business, who are in petroleum business, who are in other business. They from there you are trying to squeeze.
Okay.
Yeah, and you are squeezing.
But sir, there needs to be a certain process and certain time that needs to be given to the welfare measures to be implemented. But let me actually get Ms. Aishwarya to answer all of these queries and the allegations that you have put forth. Also, Mohan Vishwas. Aishwarya, do you think that the government in Karnataka is having to eat its own words by saying that, the moment we come into power, we are going to be implementing all of these welfare measures and people of Karnataka will be seeing this, and now they're not able to do it? And also the statement that's been oft quoted, of the Deputy Chief Minister himself stating that there is a deficit and that there needs to be some sort of fund extraction that needs to be done from other sources in order to fulfill these poll guarantees.
Gruha, there are three parts and I'd like to answer all of them because a lot of the people on the debate have raised these questions. So let me first come down to what the JDS spokesperson said. Sir, was it fiscally prudent when your chief ministerial candidate, Mr. Kumaraswamy, had something called the Pancharatna Yatra with the 5 promises, where his wife, who was the sitting MLA of Ramnagara then, went on to tell women that we're going to waive away all your cooperative loans, so please go take as many loans as you want and we're going to come clear it. The cost of your 5 Pancharatna Yatras were going to be 80,000 crores, and when you were chief minister in 2018, you basically asked us and pushed us to waive close to 1 lakh crores of farmers' debt because you believed it was a commitment you had made. So it's the same commitment that my chief minister has made for the people of Karnataka to ensure their development. And for the fact that you go on to say people become lazy because of this is extremely shameful, because you're casting aspersions on the pride and the hardworking people of Karnataka, and that is extremely sad. Second, Gruha, I will answer you and then I will go to Mr. Mohan Vishwa, is this fact of, Mr. D.K. Shivakumar talking about the lack of development this year, while the budget size is 3.27 lakh crores and these guarantees are only 44,000 crores in totality. Over 20 to 25,000 crores of all tender projects are being re-examined. I have brought this up time and time again. And Mr. D.K. Shivakumar has been very honest, because under the BJP's regime, you had close to 20 to 25,000 crores worth of tenders, some which even the Election Commission and the Supreme Court stopped, because you did it right after the Code of Conduct. And this is something that is also stopping my finances. And third, I will answer Mr. Mohan Vishwa, because I want to ask the BJP, do you really want us to be like your leaders? The problem is damned if you do, damned if you don't. The day we came into power, a cabinet resolution was formed saying we will implement these 5 guarantees. Boo-hoo that we're not like your leaders that have been promising us 15 lakhs and Achhi Din and farmers' income to be doubled and MSP to be 1.5 times. None of which you have done. If you want to come down to Karnataka from all your manifestos, from waiving farmers' loans to basically giving 10,000 rupees subsidies to cooperatives to free laptops to students, there is an entire list. But Mohan Vishwa, why does it hurt you so much that the poor of my state are basically being prioritized? 3 rupees of that milk, Gruha, they're talking about rise in milk prices, right? Yes. All 3 of those rupees are going back to farmers that are distressed because of the change in the crop pattern. You're talking about electricity. One day before my government was voted in or came into power, the central government and the state government basically allowed and sanctioned for the electricity bit to be hiked because they obviously know they weren't coming back to power. So we would have to deal with it. The fact today is the entire opposition is morally bankrupt on any issue.
Ball is in your court, Mohan Vishwa. You have 30 seconds to respond to all of the allegations that have been made, including the tenders, including crores of tenders that have been formulated and implemented.
Gruha, I would like to inform my Congress spokesperson that, poor means poor family, not only poor woman or poor wife. What they're doing now, they're increasing other prices. They're taking the money from husband's pocket and they're giving it to the wife's pocket. Is it called as poor upliftment?
Because obviously women owning any power is so painful for you.
This will be a troubled statement, Mohan Vishwa, if you make that, because we're talking about empowerment of women also. But quickly, just respond to what Aishwarya said.
What I'm telling is, if they're supporting a poor family, let them support the entire poor family. Why they're taking out money from the same poor family and giving it to the same poor family?
Okay, Mohan, I'm really sorry. I'm short on time. I'll have to wrap this. Thank you so much, all my guests, for joining me on the broadcast.